You can check us out on our Geek. Yeah, this is gonna get edited. Now comes the fun part, too, where I can't speak. So let's take two. What is up, everybody? Bobby here, the Geek Guru. Geek, definitely Guru, I don't know. But I'm here today with Toby.
Hello. Hi, Bobby.
Hello, Toby. We are doing something a little different today. We're going to call this the Geek Cast. It's kind of like a podcast, kind of like a video cast, but it's the two guys from the Geek Guru. So we are going to discuss all things that are geeky, mainly video games, stuff like that. We got some topics that we want to hit today, and we're going to just try to do this a weekly thing if we can, maybe bi-weekly. We don't know how we're going to work it out yet. This is the first episode, but this is a trial to see how it works and see how we like it and see the response. So if you like this, you need to let us know so we can continue this. So let's get right into it. What do you say? And we're going to start off with what you're playing. So we want to start off with just basically Toby and I giving a list of some games that we're playing, and this way we can tell you guys what's good and what we can recommend to you. So Toby, why don't you lead it off? What are you playing at the moment?
All right, so I got a list of 5 games. The first 2 you'll be familiar with. Well, you'll be familiar with all of them, but obviously I've been massively into Minecraft lately.
Yes.
I played it when it was first in its alpha state on PC many years ago, and I got hooked on it back then. So I played it to death, but I only ever played it on my own. So then I stopped playing it for a couple of years, and then I saw it was on PS4. So I thought, a bit of nostalgia. I'll download it, and I'll see if I can get a couple of my mates to download it, and we can all play it together. And then everyone did download it, and now we're all hooked on it. It's like Minecraft.
Yeah, it's good. That's an understatement. Because you got me hooked on it, and I wasn't gonna get the game, and you made me get it.
I did. Yeah, I made everyone get it because I was like, you got to try it. And everyone's like, oh, I don't know, it looks a bit rubbish. Like, is there a story to it? And I'm trying to explain it to them. Like, you make your own games out of it, really.
It's inexplainable, basically. You told me to get it, and I had seen some stuff about it, and I thought it was one thing. And then I'll tell you some backstory. You don't even know about this.
All right.
Okay, so I got my PS4, playing the heck out of Batman Arkham Knight, and I'm trying to beat that game, and I'm doing everything I can to beat it. And then basically, you throw a kink in it, and you're like, hey, get Minecraft. And I was like, all right, I'll try it. I'll get it, whatever. And I saw it was I also bought MLB The Show through Gamers Unlocked, which Best Buy offers. You pay $30 a year, and you get all these $30 every 2 years, and you get all these discounts and stuff. So they were actually running a promo for MLB The Show for $20 to unlock members. Now it's typically $60, so I saved $40 on it. Basically paid for the entire year up front. But in doing so, I picked up Minecraft for $15 because it was on sale as well to Gamers Unlocked. So more or less, I did that. I checked it out, and so I get it, and I tried a tutorial because I'm like, I want to get into this. I don't want to look like an idiot. Toby's going to think I'm a moron as it is. let me try to figure out how to play this game. I played the tutorial for about an hour. I was like, this game is garbage. I'm not playing this game. Like, I'll go on with Toby, and I'll play for an hour, whatever, with him and Mike and all them guys, and then I'll never play it again. And then when we all played together, that's what hooked me, because you were showing me how to play the game properly, what to do, how to mine, how to craft, all that stuff. Which,
that's the thing.
Thankfully, we went into survival mode when we had that, because for me, it's 2 different games.
It is. And the thing is, like, when you play it, there's no real. I mean, they have like mini tutorials for the console version, but there's nothing that really tells you how to play. You have to discover that yourself.
Yes.
So there's nothing that says, oh, you should go knock down some trees and then make some tools, and then use those tools to dig up some stone, and then make some stone tools to get better things. And there's like a whole sort of process to it that you just have to learn yourself by other people teaching you or looking it up online.
Yes.
And it's a really confusing experience if you do it on your own, which is probably why you didn't like it at first. I remember you was texting me like, how do I do this? And I was like, you just go up the stairs and there's a chest in the tutorial with like a bow and arrow, and you're like, what? Like, and you kept discovering all these new things, and it is like, it's a lot to take in at first, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. And so after that, then I got hooked. I started my own survival world, and I'm still playing that to today. You know, I'm still like popping in, and this morning I was playing for a couple hours, and I was playing that, the survival world. And then I have a creator mode where I just go nuts. And I've been doing all the 8-bit Nintendo characters, just having a good time with that. So it's kind of neat. I give you credit. Yeah, you wrote me in on that one. I wasn't ever expecting to play that game.
Yeah, and I did want to get it for a Nintendo console, but obviously Nintendo hasn't got Minecraft on it on Wii U or 3DS.
Yeah.
They've got a couple of knockoffs. I think Ucraft or some other one, I can't remember.
Like that. Yeah, I was looking at that last night, and I thought to myself, oh, I might get this, and it's only $6.99 right now.
Yeah, I mean, some of them look like okay for a knockoff, but I don't think they'll play the same. I think one of them's got a gun in it, which is just weird, I think.
Yeah, Ucraft or Minecraft or Craft U, whatever they're calling it. I forget what they're calling it. But that game basically, you saw guns. There's more realistic looking people per se. It's weird. The blocks don't look the same. I think they try to make it look a little better, but I don't think that comes off that well.
And I doubt it would run as well either, because Minecraft runs exceptionally well on PlayStation 4.
Oh,
because you can have massive worlds and it loads everything so quickly and it's so smooth. You know, I just don't think it'd be like it would.
I think what blows my mind is when you play this game. You know, I remember playing the original Zelda years ago, and what blew me away with that game when I played, the world is just so massive. Like, you think you have it figured out, and you don't. And it's like, you get in and you really start to unfold and start doing a lot of stuff, and then all of a sudden it's like, wow, this is huge. And I think that's what's got me on this. It's like, I'm playing and I'm in this little tight corridor, and I know just because of some of the areas I'm building up really high, these buildings, and I can look out, and I'm like, I haven't even touched the surface of this place. Like, even when you start going underground, and you start finding underground caverns and stuff, you don't realize how deep it is. You know, and the sad thing is, there's people that already know this, and they're like, you guys are idiots. Well, me, like, of course, but for me, it's just mind blowing to think that, like, I've never wanted to play this game, didn't really have the opportunity because I really don't want to play it on a PS3, and I'm not really a computer gamer, so that more or less knocked that out, and it didn't come to the Wii U, so I just never had the opportunity. But now with this, and man, it's just crazy how big these worlds are, man. It's nuts.
Also, it's a deceptively like complex game because it looks like a simple game, and on the surface it is. You can play it on a base level that's very simple, but if you want to delve into it, then there's so much depth there. Like, not just exploring wise, because there's lots more to discover than you really think.
Yeah.
But you've got like redstone blocks, for instance, which basically works like electricity, and you can do a lot of crazy stuff with that. I mean, you see videos all the time. People like make calculators within Minecraft that like work. Just, I don't know how. Like, I shared a link with Bobby the other day. Someone made a working Pac-Man arcade machine inside of Minecraft.
Yeah, it's crazy. I saw that and I was like, holy, because when you first told me, I was like, oh, I could build that. And then when I actually watched the video, I was like, wow, this thing actually works. And I don't know that you could do that on the PS4.
I don't know. I mean, I think he was using like coding blocks or something. So I don't know if it is possible on PS4, but
Might be
it's
mod.
possible within Minecraft. We'll just say that.
Yeah. All right. So what's your next game on your list?
Okay, maybe I should keep it short because we talked about Minecraft for a while then. But I was just started playing Lego Jurassic World
Hmm.
on my co-op gaming channel with my wife Karina.
I saw
Uh,
that. That was good.
yeah. So really getting into that, it's just a hilarious game, and it's like I've played the Star Wars Lego games,
Hmm.
and they were okay. It was a very early Lego game, and they've come a long way since then. They've definitely got a formula, but now that they're using all of the voice acting from the films, if you like a film and there's a Lego game for it, then you're pretty much guaranteed to like the game. They're not that deep, but it's just kind of an experience like you are playing a film basically, but in Lego form. It's really charming.
Absolutely. And I agree. Yeah, I've got. I played like you. I played the Star Wars early on, and then I switched to Batman. I did get Lego City for the Wii U. That is a lot of fun.
I love that
It's
game.
it's like GTA, but it's with Legos, and it's so funny because they make references to some GTA stuff, and it's just like, this is awesome. Yeah, it was
The,
good.
prob- the problem with that game's got two problems. One is there's no co-op. For a
Yeah,
Lego game, that's
yes,
terrible. And two, the loading times on it were atrocious.
yeah,
Going
yeah,
like in and out of the police station would take like 2-3 minutes to load, and it's
absolutely.
unacceptable.
Yeah, I agree. Um, what else you got?
Box Boy on 3DS.
That's good. That's a good one.
Yeah, that's really good. Simple game. It's all about the mechanics. They've kept the art style to completely black and white, and you play the most simplest character who's basically just a square on legs.
Yes.
And every level is. I heard somebody compared it to Mario Galaxy in that every level has got like a different new mechanic, and they use it in a really cool, interesting way. And then they just leave it. They do a few levels on it, and then they drop it, and they do something else new. And I don't know how long the game is. I've beat the main part of it, which is only about 18 worlds.
Mhm.
So, but it's a really good puzzler.
I think I
Um,
got to the 11th world, but I'm not even moving on unless I get all of the
oh yeah, all the
items,
crowns.
all the
Yeah.
crowns. Like I'm not moving at all, so that gets me a little.
See, that's the hook to the game because
Yeah.
each level you've got a certain amount of blocks. Because if you don't know what Box Boy is, basically you're a character who can duplicate themselves into other boxes, and you can like snake them around off of yourself, and you can use that to get on top of ledges or hook onto stuff, and you can like drop them off of your body, so you can use them as platforms. And throughout the level, there's one or two like crowns that you have to pick up. They're like, I think they're optional, but it's basically like getting 3 stars on a mobile game. So if you
Mhm.
collect them all, then you've like got 100% perfect score. But the kick is, if you want to get the crowns, you have to do it by using a limited amount of blocks, and you have to rethink about the most efficient way to do the puzzles to be able to get the crowns. It's really addicting.
It is good. I give you credit. I not give you credit because you didn't do anything, but and I agree. I agree with what you're saying. It's really good. It's really good. It looks very simplistic, and you look at it and go, "This is going to be dumb." But when you get in, it's like, "Wow, this is good." Um,
So what are you playing then? Tell me about some of the games you're playing.
okay, so I just got my PS4 when Batman came out, so I got it on the 23rd. So about 2 weeks ago, almost 3 weeks ago now, something like that. Obviously Batman. I'm about 96%, and I'm at that point like, do I want to keep going or do I want to stop? And because I've done the main campaign, it's just 200 and something Riddler challenges I'm looking at, and I'm like, do I really want to mess with this? Like, I don't know. So part of me is like yes, and part of me is like no, I'm done with this. But I haven't decided yet. So I still keep popping in and doing little things on that because I still have a little bit more to do. But so that I'm playing. I went back and I started playing Last of Us again. This will be my third playthrough of
Are
it.
you
I
are you
just
playing that on PS4?
yes, yeah, I beat it twice on the PS3.
Is it noticeably better on PS4?
No,
Because
no. There's
I
some things, yes. Like a couple things that I've noticed is this. There's a part where trying to think of exactly where you are. I forget the name of it, but it's right after. It's just before you find. And I forget the names. I forget the names of the characters, but the black guy and the little black boy.
oh yeah.
Just before you meet them, when you're swimming through that little water area, you actually can see like a mold or a slime that's on the top of the water. Like that's more realistic, and
Mm.
it seems like the water physics are much better, like greatly improved. The other stuff, I'm not 100% sure.
Isn't it isn't it 60 frames a second, whereas it was 30 on
I
PS3?
believe it is, yeah, and you
So I
can
think
definitely see
that's
difference. Like some of the things run a little. I don't want to say run smoother because I really and see, I'm not the type of person that can look at 30 and look at 60 and go, "That's 30, that's 60." Like I'm not
I
that type of
think you
person.
can though, Bobby. I think
Well,
you're doing yourself a disservice there.
if it's side by side, yes, but I don't think like I think I might pick up on some things that are different, but I'm not 100% sure what it is in theory. Um, so I don't know that, but I do like. I love that game. And I don't play that game. That's a game that you don't play for graphics or anything like that. You just play that for the storyline. That's just
It is a gorgeous game though.
it is gorgeous. I'm not denying that. I'm not taking that away at all. But it's not one of those games that are like that game is totally story driven. Like it just helps that it's beautiful. Like that game could be a game that's like just has mediocre graphics, and it's one of those games that like it is so good and so deep storyline wise. Of course, the graphics sell the game. You know, people see those graphics and they're like, "Oh, I got to play this game." But when you see that game, you know, it's just mind blowing that it's you know the storyline is that good. Like it's a great storyline.
It's definitely one of my favorite games of the PS3 generation.
Oh, absolutely. That was to me that was the game that I bought. That I bought a PS3 because of Arkham Asylum and DC Universe Online, and that game was the game that made me go, "Thank God I bought this system." Like
Mm.
that was just mind blowing. Two other games that I'm playing real quick. Rocket League. I've been tinkering with that a little bit. Been playing with the Geek Guru guys in the with the group. That's kind of fun. It's a fun game,
I've
and it's
been meaning,
free.
yeah, I've been meaning to try. It's free on PS Plus, isn't it?
Yes, yes.
Um, all of my friends that I play with have got it. I've got it, but I haven't played it yet.
Yeah,
But
you
we're all
like it.
planning on getting together and playing it. It looks like crazy fun. Like the way I've seen it. Kotaku does these highlight reel videos, basically like little short clips people send in of their best gaming moments. And lately, Rocket League has just been dominating their videos because
Oh,
there's so many points in that game where it's down to the last second and you get a perfect last second goal or you get a perfect last second save, like the clock's down to zero and it looks like time is stretching because like you can watch the replays in slow motion and
yeah.
it's so clenched the way you can just stop the balls going in at the last minute. And there's a lot more depth to I think the way that you do the trick shots and stuff in that game. I haven't
It's good.
played it obviously, but I think it looks amazing.
Yeah, it's good. It's a lot of fun, definitely. Um, last game I'm playing, Metroid Fusion. I went back. I've never beat this game. I've played it a bunch of times. I get to a certain point. I'm at that point now, and I always put it down and go away. And it's I believe the character, I believe the enemy is called the Nightmare. Um, it's this gigantic robotic thing that you know I can get to a certain point with him, and I can't beat him. But I'm determined to beat him this time. Like I'm not, you know,
That's a Metroid
I don't want
game.
to give up.
I've never played Metroid Fusion.
Oh, it's
So
a good
I have
game.
no idea what you're talking about here.
You got to get this one. It's a good game. Really
Was
good game.
is that the one they gave away as part of the ambassador program?
Yes, yes.
So
They
I
gave it
have
away, and
I
that's why I
played
have
like
it.
the first 5 minutes of it, but then I put it down.
It's a good game, really is, and it's like I like it a lot, and it definitely continues the Samus storyline and such. So I like it a lot. I think it's a really solid game. So we'll end that. Let's move it along. Now we are going to move on to Club Nintendo. So everybody knows that Club Nintendo closed down. It's been a couple months now. I think this is officially is finalized and done. Club Nintendo had its peaks and its valleys big time, and I think there's a lot of people that love Club Nintendo, and at the same time they despise Club Nintendo. Myself included. I got some good stuff from Club Nintendo, and I got some garbage from Club Nintendo. But moving forward, we wanted to discuss what exactly we want from the next iteration of Club Nintendo, or a rewards program, so to speak. So, what about you, Toby? What do you have in mind that you would like to see them do this time out the gates?
Well, I think that they could learn a lot from Sony's PlayStation Plus system.
Yes.
In that basically PlayStation Plus is a service where you pay a yearly amount. I think you pay monthly as well, but basically you pay for a subscription, and as part of that subscription, you get to play online. So online isn't free on PlayStation. On PlayStation 4, you have to have PS Plus for that. But it's what makes it so good is that every month you get I think it's two per system, two free monthly games per system every month. And at the moment, on PS4, you get a lot of indie games. But on the PS3, you got a load of actual AAA titles for free every month. And I think at the moment, that's probably, you haven't seen that as much on PS4 because there's obviously not as many, it's not been out for as long. But what I mean is Nintendo could do that instead of maybe doing it, because they don't have a lot of third-party support. So if that continues with NX, instead of doing the AAA games as part of the subscription, they could do like a Netflix type service for their virtual console. So you pay a subscription for a year, like Netflix, you could pay it monthly, and you get access to their entire virtual console library. And you can just play the game, download them and play them, and as long as you remain a member, then you can be able to play their virtual console games. Also, it'd be nice to get discounts on their eShop titles, for being loyal. And also, lastly, mobile integration, something to do with that.
Now I know that with PlayStation Plus, you do get discounts on certain games. Like you get a little bit cheaper if you're a PlayStation Plus member. So that would be nice to have. I would love for Nintendo to go back to the Digital Deluxe program. And for those that don't know, basically what it was you bought your games digitally on the Wii U. They called it the Digital Deluxe program because when the Wii U came out, they had two models. They had the basic and the deluxe. And every 10% you spent, or I'm sorry, for every time you spent $50, they gave you 10%. They gave you $5 back in eShop credits. The eShop credits could be spent on the Wii U or the 3DS. I made so much money because what I did was I went out and I bought a 2 terabyte hard drive, external hard drive, and I downloaded everything that they put out directly to that. Didn't matter. Like the first game I got was Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze, and it just carried on from there, and I never backed off. Like I've got over 90 games on there now between virtual console games and AAA games and all that stuff. Like I have a lot of games on my external hard drive, and I would like to see some type of partnership of those two. Like more or less just say like you could earn these credits, but these credits could also be for physical gifts, or you can do more video games. I wouldn't mind just being able to just take the money and go buy something. Like they were doing before, give you eShop credit and you go buy more games on. It was always nice because I would always get I'd have like $5-10 stockpile. So I was buying games for $40, AAA games for $40. And it was so awesome to have that. Like I loved that. So I'm more or less in the mindset of I just want to see whatever it is. I want to see them incorporate some cross buy into it. Um, I agree with what you're saying. Like that would be cool if there was a subscription. Like I would pay for online, um, because I think that like if you there's a reason why they're not doing voice chat. They're not doing a lot of multiplayer online like really good. Like this generation, it's definitely turned around for Nintendo. I think like when you looked at Smash and you looked at Mario Kart and definitely Splatoon, the one thing that is lacking is the voice chat. Um, it would just be nice, and I didn't realize that until I got a PS4. You don't realize till you get it how cool it is, and you know, for a long time, I was that type of person that would just be like, no, you don't need it. Go get Skype. Go do something else. There's, it's just mind numbing to like think that I got to go get Skype to talk to you if I want to play with you. Like we just, like you log in and you just send a message and boom, we're talking. You plug right into the controller. You plug your headset right into the controller. It's a breeze, and Nintendo was set up for that because they have the ports in the controllers. I'm getting kind of off topic a little bit here, but more or less, like what I think like is if you paid to play online, give you that option to do certain things, like give you voice chat and all that. So I wouldn't mind paying. I'd pay $10 a month if they wanted to go that. If they wanted to get that crazy, I would pay $10 a month and say $10 a month would give me access to additional online features. Maybe, like you said, like a Netflix type thing with their virtual console games, and then do something where like you get a rewards program involved as well. So that way you're kind of earning back that $10 a month with coupons and stuff like that you can, or eShop credits, you can go buy other games. I mean, I don't know the exact formula that would work, but I would just like to see something like that. I think that like, and more or less what you're saying is kind of nailing it in my mind is like, the PS Plus is, when PS Plus first came out, I was like, that is garbage. I'm not paying for that stuff. Like I shouldn't have to pay to play online. And now that I have it, it's like, this is awesome. Like, because you're getting more, the free games pays for it. You're basically not
Exactly.
paying for online.
I mean, like you were saying with your the Best Buy deal that you got, that paid for itself from your first purchase. You got so much off that it paid for itself. And with PS Plus, you can get one AAA game because the service is only like in the UK it's something like 40 something pounds a year. So so last year I think I got Sleeping Dogs on PS3, and that's like a AAA title that was out, on PS Plus not too long after it was out, I don't think. But anyway, I bought that and I loved it. I played it to death, and I was thinking this is like totally worth it just for this one game. And all of the other games were just bonuses on top. And I had so many game experiences I wouldn't have probably tried or like spent my money on outside of PS Plus. So I think that would be really beneficial for Nintendo to do something like that. I think your digital not the 10% back thing that you was talking about, what was that the digital deluxe program?
Yes.
I forgot all about that. I remember that being brilliant.
Yeah.
The only thing that I'm thinking about that is that that's a lot more beneficial for people that like to buy digitally, and it does entice people to do that more, which is kind of better for Nintendo anyway because they get more profit that way. But for people like me, I mean, in the UK, it's probably the same in the US as well, but retail is generally a lot cheaper than digital releases. They're getting closer together now, but if I can save myself like £5-10 by getting a physical copy, then I'll do that rather than buy digitally. So that digital like 10% back thing is not going to benefit people like me. I mean, for digital only games like indie titles, then that's definitely really cool. But most of my games, because it's just cheaper to get them in a store in a physical version, then I'll just do that.
See, and that's not the way it is in the United States. Like Mario Kart is $60 digitally, it's $60 if I went to GameStop and bought it.
Really, I had no
Yeah,
idea it's like that.
it's the same price. So for me, I was getting
So it
Mario
worked.
Kart for 55, not 60.
It works just like that for you, but for us, like
Yeah,
it's not like that. So
that's crazy. Yeah, that's kind of interesting. I didn't realize that you guys could get them cheaper
mm.
in store.
I mean, for
Um,
instance, on it's the same for Sony as well. Like I pre-ordered Metal Gear Solid 5 for about £35, but I guarantee you that will be nearly 50 quid on the PlayStation Store when it's released. And that's like a massive difference.
yeah. Now that I realize there's no. Well, first off, let's expose the giant elephant in the room. All right, you're not buying any games digitally on the PS4. First off, them games are massive,
Yeah.
and the memory is nowhere. Like, okay, Mario Kart, 5 gigs. That's all the game is 5 gigs. Um, like it's nothing. Like, so I have a 2 terabyte hard drive. That's nothing compared to like 5 gigs. It's even putting a dent in the game in the system. In my hard drive,
Mm-hmm.
where I upgraded my hard drive for my PS4 and put a 2 terabyte in there, and it's like just even the physical games, it's like 40 gigs of memory you got to drop on it just for the just to play the game with the disc, which I don't get. They tell you all kinds of nonsense like, oh, it helps with loading times. BS. Because play Arkham Knight, and you die, and it takes you about 30 to 40 seconds for that to load back up and you to continue. Like, that makes no sense to me whatsoever. Like, I just loaded a quarter of the game onto this system for load times and to help out with the world. And I think that's more what it is. It's to help with going into an open world aspect and not having to load up when you get into certain parts of it. So it's crazy. So I would never buy a digital PS4 game over a physical PS4 game. Like, it's just I don't have the memory space for it, and I upgraded to the 2 terabyte because I don't want to play that game where I'm downloading, where I'm deleting games so I can download another game and then 2 weeks later go, oh, you know what? I really wish I didn't delete that game, and then it's just nah, it's not for me.
Yeah, I'm in that situation right now because my 500 gig PS4, I've only like at the moment I've got less than 100 gig left,
Mm.
and so that means that when I'm saving footage from gameplay videos, like that one night on GTA can be like 50 gigs of footage just from saving that. So you have to be really careful with your space, and I have like several times now I've had to go through my digital library of my PS Plus games mostly and just think, okay, I don't play that on much, I'll get rid of that. I mean, it's good because you can re-download them later, and I'm very lucky to have fiber optic broadband, so it doesn't take me that long. But for most people that don't have that, that's a real pain in the backside. And Nintendo have always been amazing at keeping their file sizes small, working within their constraints. Other companies, like not so much, like Ubisoft, for instance,
Horrible.
I bought Splinter Cell on Wii U because it was in a sale. It was like £9.99, and I thought, right, that's brilliant. I'll get that digitally because that's cheaper than the shops. But it was something crazy like 13 gigabytes, and my
Yeah.
deluxe Wii U has barely got that free space anyway. So I downloaded that one game, and then I wanted to download an update for Mario Kart for the DLC, and I had to delete Splinter Cell so I could get the DLC. So
Yeah, the third parties, and I think that's part of the problem with Nintendo is they don't talk to the third parties to explain like this is the best way to run your games to keep the memory down. Because Nintendo's they stretch those games like you look at Mario Party or not Mario Party, you look at Mario Kart or you look at Smash. Smash is kind of big. Smash isn't a little. I think Smash is 15 or 13 gigs. It's kind of big. It's one of the bigger Nintendo ones. But if you look at like Mario Kart, if that was like a Ubisoft, that thing would be like 40 or 50 gigs.
it really would. Also, New Super Mario Bros. U is tiny as well. That's like less
Yes.
than 2 GB or something
Yeah.
ridiculous like
It's
that.
great. It's
And that's
great.
quite a big game, really, for a
It is.
platforming game.
It is, absolutely. So, okay. So we'll wrap up on that with basically we're ultimately we're saying that they should kind of go with a pay service similar to Sony, or a Netflix would kind of be beneficial to us and something we're looking for. So moving right along. So earlier this week, end of last week, there was a prophecy made by or uncovered by some who believed that Kojima might have been prophesizing his demise or his leave from Konami. Um, Before we actually went into this video, we watched something on IGN, the Daily Fix, where they talked about it, and just kind of to get Toby up to speed on what I was talking about. And so, what did you think when you saw that, Toby?
I couldn't believe it. I had no idea until you mentioned it. So I went and watched the video, and what it is in Metal Gear Solid Ground Zeroes, which is like the mini prequel to the Phantom Pain. There's a side mission where you have to go around and you have to scrub basically like logos and stuff. I don't know what like throughout the level. Basically, you're getting rid of evidence that certain games existed or something existed within the game. And at the end, there's a message that says you can erase the markings, but you can never erase the memories. And that is like the most perfect sentence to like prophesize what's happening to Kojima Productions right now and his name and everything.
Exactly.
It's bizarre.
Because what was it? 2 weeks ago, they just Konami pulled his name off of the packaging for Metal Gear Solid. Like they pulled Kojima Productions off of Metal Gear Solid 5. I don't understand what the heck is going on. Like, this is an ugly divorce, and I don't get it. I don't understand. Like, part of me thinks that maybe because look, we don't know these people. We don't know Kojima. I mean, we see what he tweets, and we see him like he plays up to the fans, and the fans love him. But behind closed doors, he could be a real tool, you know. And I mean, there's stories of Miyamoto. I love Miyamoto. I think he is amazing. I think he's the nicest guy in the world. But there's stories of him going into Anuma's office and flipping the table over because Anuma didn't do something proper the way he wanted with Zelda, you know? And so you don't know behind closed doors what exactly Kojima's like. Like, he could really be like blackmailing Konami on certain things. Like, I want it to be this way, and that's it. And like, Kiefer Sutherland came in to play the voice of Snake, and they got rid of David Hayter. You know, was that a Kojima thing where Kojima forced them, and now they're paying a lot more money for Kiefer Sutherland than David Hayter? You know, there's all these different things. Like, you don't really know the whole story, but it's crazy when you look at this divorce per se, and it's just like, what are they doing? Like, it's I feel like we're at this crossroads with these gaming companies where they have these IPs that we love. You know what I mean? Like, we've played these IPs for majority of our lives, and now we're at a place where the companies don't want to make them no more. And the developers are saying to them, like, look, there's a want for these games. But I think that, like, there's this blurred vision that mobile is the way to go, and that's the only way to go. But it's not. I feel like you're doing a disservice to your fans because you're distancing yourself from your fans. And then you look at a guy, you look at like the Castlevania redone with Bloodstain they're going to do now, and then Mighty Number 9, and then Ukulele, and like you look at all these developers, are like, okay, you don't want to do it. We'll go indie per se and make these games ourselves. We'll make the games that the fans really want. So for me, I'm like, this is another situation. Like, but this is just a big high profile game, big high profile director, and it's just unwinding. And Kojima's very coy. Like, he'll do stuff and it's like, well, like look at PT. You know, they're like, hey, we're gonna put this playable teaser, playable trailer. And it turned out to be Silent Hills, and nobody knew. Everybody's playing, and all of a sudden, bang, it's Silent Hills, and they're like, the internet exploded. So part of me thinks that, like, yes, he knew he was leaving, and this was the way of like telling people prior, or was it that he was just like this was going to be his final game, and he in his mind was moving on to Silent Hills, and that was going to be the end of Metal Gear for him. Like, that's hard to say, but it's definitely freaky when you watch, when you see this.
Yeah, I mean, it could be something that has been going on for a long time in the background, like even during the development of Ground Zeroes, like they could have been in talks at that point of separating, going his separate ways. Like, I mean, it is strange that it's kind of it all feels a bit seedy and a bit dark, like because they've not said anything. It's all been like media blackout on that. Nobody knows anything. It's all speculation, and I wonder if Kojima would have been able to sneak something like that in without Konami like knowing about that. I mean, surely they would see that message and they wouldn't agree to it. But if it's not been discovered till now, maybe they would have noticed it. But
I think, well, I think the fans, obviously the fans played that and they knew about it, but they didn't know what was going on. I think they were just playing a level and it was what it was and that was it. Now you see it right after Konami pulls the logos, the Kojima logos off of the cover, off the box art. Now it's like a rude awakening, and it's like, wow, there's something going on here. You know, this is a deeper message. So
it is interesting to see that more and more now these well-known like names are basically like there's less and less well-known names making games now. It's more about the company as a whole rather than, you know, like you get the big movie directors like Spielberg and, you know, Coppola and everything like that. Like they're auteurs, and I think in the gaming industry there are people like that, like Kojima and like Miyamoto and all of that. And but less and less they're becoming less the focus for these games. And like you say, a lot of the auteur developers are now going off and doing their smaller projects as indie things.
yeah,
And I think that definitely that is the way that the industry is going now. I mean, you still get your AAA titles, but I think they won't be spearheaded by a single vision or a single person guiding that vision. I mean, obviously there are game directors, but I think that it's more of a whole company, like a, you know, like I wouldn't say it's like one man's design and what he says goes.
yeah.
So maybe Kojima had that idea, like he's always been in charge of his games, like every little aspect, and maybe he's just pushing things too far this time, and because it's a massive game, and obviously it's costing millions to make Metal Gear Solid 5, and maybe all of the little things that he was forcing onto Konami to put into this game was just not agreeing with them, whether it's money or just ideas in general. So, I mean, that could have just sparked it. It could just be money. I mean, it could be he wanted more money and they didn't want to give it to him. So,
Could be, and you're absolutely right. It could be because it could be where he was already making an astronomical amount of money, and they were just like, okay, enough's enough. Like,
yeah.
we're not going to give you more.
It's definitely interesting though to see what's happening to the industry like that. So, I mean, I hope that people like Kojima can stay around and like have their own sort of smaller games, like with their vision. I mean, I'd hate to see someone like Miyamoto like not have a vision anymore and not be able to put that into his games, like rather than like Nintendo saying, "Oh, this game is designed by Nintendo. It's not designed by Miyamoto." Like, I think that would be a shame to see something like that.
Absolutely. Could you imagine if, like, just one day Nintendo was like, get out, and they just kind of rewrit history that, like, they started pulling Mr. Miyamoto's name off of everything. Like,
That
you
would be
didn't create
bizarre, wouldn't
Mario,
it?
and you didn't create Link and Zelda and Donkey Kong and all this. Like, Nintendo did, not you. Like, that would be horrible. Like, and we don't know because we've never seen anything of this caliber. You know, like in comic books, this is prevalent. You know, this is always happening in comic books. Like, guys will create characters, they'll create, you know, villains and things like that and they don't get the recognition per se. Like it's a Marvel character or a DC character. It's not, you know, Stan Lee's about the only one that kind of he made a bunch of characters, but like Bob Kane who made Batman, like yeah, Bob Kane made him, but it's not like they're like all up front with it, And there's stories of other guys that were involved in the creation of Batman as well. It wasn't just Bob Kane, but they don't get any credit for it whatsoever. Like Denny O'Neil and Neil Adams created Ra's al Ghul, but you see Ra's al Ghul, nobody knows that Denny O'Neil and there's a small group of people that do, but for the most, they don't really. They're not. It's not like when Ra's al Ghul appears in the comic, they go, "Oh, Ra's al Ghul was created by Denny O'Neil," and so it's not. It's a different. But we've grown up knowing that like Miyamoto made Mario, Miyamoto made Link, and so to think like one day that's all gone and they just wipe it, like that's crazy. Now I don't know. Now, did Kojima make the original Metal Gear for the NES?
Yeah.
That was him that made it for the NES?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it was, yeah.
Okay, so I knew he did for the PS1, but I didn't know if he did for...
it's right from MSX and then the NES version of it, and then so on, so...
But that's... Okay, so then he did create all... So that's just nuts to think that, like, you're just going to be like, see you later,
I mean, the thing is, like, he obviously isn't the only person that's worked on these games, so it's not to take credit away from all the other developers and programmers and artists, but he obviously has sculpted this series, and it's all sort of, it's all in his mind, and it's all coming from that one place, and he is like the director. He's like, put this over here and add this character here, and obviously a lot of other people do have their input, and it's the same with Mario games and Zelda games. A lot of people contribute to the overall vision, but I mean, because it's sort of his child, like, and they're taking that away from him, and it's bad enough that they're doing that, but like taking his name away from it, like if they're selling like Ground Zeroes, are they taking his name away from that and all the other games? Like, it's not like that didn't happen. Like, his name wasn't there. It's like...
Exactly. It's crazy because it's like, it's almost like they're like, well, you didn't exist.
Yeah.
You didn't do this. And it's like, come on. Like,
it's a real slap in the face. It's like basically like saying that you pretended that you did this. Like, you put your name on it, but really you didn't do much. Like, that's... I don't know. That's what it feels like.
That's the best way to say it, truthfully. So, okay. So, you got anything else to add to that, or are you?
No, I think that would do for now.
Okay. So, moving right along, we're gonna wrap up. We're gonna do our final segment here, and in this segment, we wanted to discuss what we are looking forward to playing the remainder of the year. Like, we're not going to say something that's coming out 5 years from now. We're going to basically talk about like what's been announced to hit hopefully by December. If you want to go into the early part of 2016, that's fine. But a game that's like announced for next year, late next year, we're not going to really mess with. So
there's no mentioning Zelda U.
Yes, no Zelda U in this one. That's obvious that we want to play that. Come on, you're wearing a Zelda shirt, and I got Link over my shoulder. Like, come on, we want to play it. So that's an unspoken. That's what we want. So I think I'm not even gonna pull any punches. I think it's on both our lists, probably Metal Gear Solid 5. That's the number. It's actually the number one game that I have on my list that I'm looking forward to playing this.
It's on my list. It is number one on my list because it's the first one I thought of, but it's not the one I'm most looking forward to.
You're probably right. On my list as well, it's on there, but it's not the one that I'm most forward looking to. So go ahead. What's your number one game?
My number one game is Mario Maker.
Yeah, that's. I'm with you there.
Since they've unveiled that game, like at first I was like, oh, this is interesting. Like, make your own Mario levels, and it had, I think it was like 3 art styles, and it was kind of a shrunk down version of what it is now. Like, it was obviously quite early when they showed it to us, but now, like, since E3, all the stuff they've shown at E3, they've added so much to it, and it's like
Yeah.
it's become like exponentially bigger. Like what you can do in that game is just insane. Like making your own levels, and if it comes pre-packaged like they said it would, with 100 levels or so,
Yes.
that's crazy in itself. Because basically you've got a brand new 2D Mario game, and then you've also got a tool with that to make infinite amount of levels that you want. Obviously, you can only store a certain amount, but the limit is your creativity. And
Well,
even if you're not creative, you can play all the other levels that everyone else is making.
absolutely. And they're doing a couple things. They just announced this week that they're partnering with Facebook to advertise the game, but they're also going to have developers at Facebook design levels. And so those are going to be included in the game as well. The other thing they're doing, which I think is amazing, and I'm really excited for this. Let's say I'm allowed to make, when the game starts, let's say 10 levels. That's it. In order to unlock, to be able to make 20 levels, your star rating needs to be hit a certain point. Meaning, what does that mean? That means, like, if I make a level and Toby comes to that level and he plays that level and he likes it, he'll put a star on that level. And that's like a ranking system of, it'll gauge to tell people how many people enjoy this level. So the more stars you get, the more levels you can make. And it basically promotes strong level building. It basically is like, hey, we want you to make the best levels you could possibly make. Because if me personally, I'm like, I want to make a Mario game. I want first 4 levels to be this, the next 4 to be this, and the next 4 to be this. I want it to be like a story almost. Obviously, you can't put the storyline in, but there's really no Mario story anyway. It's basically you start, you go level, level, level. But I think the storytelling was always within the levels, like what you did and how you changed levels and how they progressed and you learned new tricks. So for me, I'm like, I want to do the max. I want to be able to make the max. And I've already got ideas for stuff. I'm already sitting here in my mind thinking like all these ideas. Like the fact of like I can grab one of my amiibo, plop them down, and then it becomes a question mark block, that like a question mark mushroom that when you grab it, that character ends up, makes me think like what they showed was 8-bit, but what happens when you play like Super Mario World or New Super Mario Bros? Do you get like a Wii Fit trainer that looks stylistic graphics, or are they stuck strictly in 8-bit? And
Well, I think they'll be stuck in the 8-bit form.
I hope they're not. They
I
haven't
hope so
said
too.
anything. They haven't said anything. But I'm just thinking, and I'm looking at. I'm like, there's so much you could do, like a Rosalina or a Kirby or King Dedede. Like to have those characters, like you could start to essentially build levels around those characters. So I'm excited for that game as well. And the one thing that disappoints me is in the United States. I don't know if they talked about it in the UK, but in the United States they just announced three versions. One is the game with the book. I want that book. That book is awesome. It basically shows you how to design levels and all that stuff. So I'm buying the physical copy of this. This is the one I'm going to buy the physical on. Most of the times I buy digital. This will be physical. What I might do is buy one physical and then buy digital, because we have 2 Wii U's here. So I'll use the physical upstairs where I'm at now, and then just buy the digital for downstairs. Then the next one is, it comes with the amiibo, the 8-bit amiibo. Then the third package they just announced was the game, the book, the amiibo, and a Wii U. The only thing I don't like is they just did a black Wii U. And I felt like that was an opportunity to get people like me to go buy another Wii U. If they would have done one like a red and a yellow, or something to look like a special edition Wii U, I would have gone and bought a brand new Wii U. I promise you.
I would have as well.
Yeah.
If they did like a yellow one that was themed in the same colours as the game, then
Yes. I would have ran out tomorrow and bought. I'd have pre-ordered one already.
the problem is where they did a special edition Zelda Wii U, but they only put some gold on the gamepad. They didn't do anything with the console. It's just a little bit of gold decoration on the gamepad. And at that point, I thought, because I was thinking about getting another one then, but when I found out it was just the gamepad, I was like, nah, forget that. I'll just get the game.
I'm with
But
you. I
it's
did the same exact
probably
thing.
it's probably because they're just not selling enough Wii U's to make that many variations, like unique things like that. I mean, I don't know if it'd be worth
I
it
get
for them.
that. I get that, but think about it. If you did that special edition Wii U, here's two of them already. Now, we're not the only idiots that are Nintendo lovers that would go buy more. I've got 5 special edition 3DSs on the shelf right now. Every time a special edition 3DS hits, I buy a new one. And I transfer all my data over. So if they would, I bought a PS4 special edition Batman. Like, I waited for that so I could buy that. Like, the game collectors are going to get them, you know. And if they would have, I mean, I have a special edition Red Wii U or Red Wii, the 25th anniversary of Mario
So,
on my
so do
shelf.
I, Rory. But the thing
Yeah.
is, you're crazy. You will buy all this stuff, but
Yes.
not everyone can afford that. I mean, the average
Not
game
not
can.
everybody can afford it, but right now, would you buy one?
Yeah, I would. Of
Thank
course,
you.
I would.
Thank you. So stop.
But
Stop.
I'm not everyone.
No,
Neither are you.
but think about it. There's a lot of guys like us. You're going to tell me, listen, you're part of the NVC Facebook group. You're
Yeah.
telling me that if they came out with one, that 30 guys in that group wouldn't buy one?
Yeah, but the 30 guys isn't enough to justify. They need like 30,000 at least.
You don't think they could sell 30,000 units?
Yeah, all right, they could, but I don't know what the numbers are like to make it
I don't know
worthwhile.
the numbers either. I mean, I don't know the numbers either, but I just feel like this was an opportunity. Same thing with Splatoon. If they would have done a Splatoon one with like different color, like ink splatters on it, I would have bought a new Splatoon one. Like when I first saw that box, I was like, "Oh, that's awesome! I'm getting one." And then when I saw it was just a black Wii, I was like, "I don't want it. I don't want it." So I don't know. That's just, you know, I just feel like it's a missed opportunity. And I know that
Yeah.
it's kind of at the end of the life cycle, and they're not going to do all that for it. But I think the tone was set with the Wind Waker edition. It just wasn't
Yeah.
anything that popped. So, okay. So what's your next game?
Next game, Steam World Heist. Another
Dude,
game that I know that you
it's on my list.
That's
It's
on your
my
list. I knew it.
Yeah,
But
you know what? Oh God, this game is haunting me, man. I'm fortunate enough that I won the ambassador program. It was basically designing or creating a social media thing for them, and my idea was to create a YouTube interview session where they bring in different developers, different people that work on the games, and the community could send questions and they would answer them and such. And they liked it, so they're using it. And in that, basically what happens is I get a free every iteration of this game, meaning the Wii or the Wii U, the 3DS, the PS4, the Xbox One, PC, Apple, Android, all that stuff. Like, as each game comes out, I get a free copy of that game. Additionally, I get additional copies to give to friends. I don't know how much I like you right now, Toby. So I don't know that I'll be getting. I don't know that I would give you a code.
of course you'll give me a code.
Yeah,
Don't even pretend.
you know, I've already told you I'd give you a code. But you know, but I'm also going to give them away to subscribers and stuff like that because I'm actually what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to give the code away and I'm going to buy the copy myself when it comes out. I wanted to kind of start like a pay it forward program, like just because they're giving it to, and it's not like I don't have the money to go buy the game, and I want to support them the best that I possibly can. And I feel like if I gave the game away to other people with the idea of like, hey, if you like this game, you need to give it to someone else, you know, and I'll give it to you for free. But if you really like it, give it to someone else, and do the same thing. Like you tell them, like if you really like it, you give it to someone else, and start like a groundswell of people enjoying it because this game is so amazing. Like I was fortunate enough to spend some time with it a couple months ago. It is awesome. Like I know that you like Codename Steam. This is just, it's similar to like a Fire Emblem. It's a side-scrolling um,
That's the interesting thing about it.
strategy. What's that?
Is the interesting thing about it is that it's a 2D side-scrolling turn-based game,
Yes.
which is very rare. I mean, a lot of turn-based games are top-down or
Yes.
like Codename's thing, like the third-person thing.
Yes.
But being 2D like that is like how can you do that and how can you do it well? But everything that I've seen so far, they are nailing it. Like,
Oh, they're killing it. They're killing it. Like, even when you're like using Piper and Piper has like a sight scope on the gun, you can ricochet bullets off. And the idea is to collect hats and stuff like that. Like, they're just, I'm telling you, I played that demo. I think the demo was about 10 minutes long. And when I got done, I looked at Brian from Image and Form, and I was like, I want this game now. Like, just tell me what you have now. Like, it is that good. It's gonna hook me hard. Like, and I believe that it's about a 15-hour game, give or take, which is a decent amount.
A really decent amount.
Yeah.
But that worries me in that how can they keep the formula interesting for that amount of time? Like, the core shooting and moving mechanics are obviously going to stay, but what are they gonna add to it? Like, are the enemies gonna have enough variety? The environments, like, they're gonna have to up the ante gradually. I mean, I don't know what they've got to do that, but I mean, I trust them. I believe they can do it.
I trust them wholeheartedly. After SteamWorld Dig, like, they can do no wrong in my eyes. So yeah, and that game was basic mechanics, and it was, but that game was much less time. It was only about 5 hours. But I think more or less the idea with this game is with the storyline and all the other stuff that's coming along. Like, I think that's where they'll rope you in, with the storyline and all that, and keep you going. I think it's amazing. So, what do you have next, sir?
The Uncharted collection on PS4.
Same with me.
What's going on?
I don't know. You read my mind. I just sat here and jotted down stuff before we started. What had you excited about that?
Well, all right. So when I got my PS3 really late because I was a big Wii gamer for ages, and like when the Wii first came out, I was like a proper hardcore Nintendo fanboy, and at that point I was like, I don't need HD. I've got my Wii. All the best games are on Wii. I don't want to play any of that HD crap. So I didn't actually get a PS3 until a couple of years ago, like pretty like 3 or 4 years ago, but it was like quite far into the PS3's cycle, and a lot of games were out already at that point. So I had like a choice of a ton of different really decent PS3 games to try from like when I first got the console. So one of the first games I bought was Uncharted 2, and I played that. I think that was the second game that I played on my PS3, and it was amazing. I was like instantly converted to HD games and the sort of games that you could play on a more powerful console. It's a completely different experience. I'm not dissing the Wii, I still love my Wii, and that is one of my favourite consoles. But it kind of opened up a whole new world for me, as the PS4 is like for you from the Wii U. It's that sort of step up in technology, and it's a different experience. It's not necessarily better, but it was different from what I was playing. And playing Uncharted is kind of a really like memorable game for me, and it's got like strong feelings and nostalgia to it now because it was one of the first HD games I played, and I just love the gameplay of it, and it's just one of the best action games of all time, I think. It's really like the Uncharted games are really like cheesy and like fun, and they're light-hearted, and there's a lot of like just action movie elements to it. But I really like the characters and the story and that as well. So I played the first one after that, and then the third one, and just kind of hooked on them. So yeah,
I've never played an Uncharted game before. My first game, other than Crash Bandicoot, my first Naughty Dog game was Last of Us, and when I played that, I was blown away. And then I was like, oh, I want to go back and play them. But I don't have a PS3 no more. I got rid of it. And then they announced this collection, and I was like, I'm sold. I'm in. I'm getting this, no doubt about it. Like, it's. I want to play those games. I want to experience all that story before I play Uncharted 4 early next year. So that's why I'm excited for it, is because I look at like The Last of Us and how much I love that game, and I think, man, if this is the early makings of The Last of Us, like I know one is a totally different style, but when they hit two, that's when like this whole cinematic style that they started
Yeah,
doing really
exactly. Yeah.
started kicking off. And then three, my understanding is they just killed it with three, and then from three they went to Last of Us, and now back to
I mean,
this.
I would say that two is the better game. Three is good graphically. It was a
Mhm.
step up again. But there was a few aspects about three that I didn't like as much as two.
Mhm.
I mean, there was one thing about two that I didn't like, is the final boss. I mean, I won't spoil it for you, but it was just kind of a different direction for the series and the story, and I was like, ooh, not sure about that. But the rest of two was just amazing. But in three, there's like some sections where you're out in the desert, and you kind of get like drugged, and you're going through like a desert town, and the screen is like all warbly, and that whole section of the game is like really long for what it is, and it really like drew me out of the experience. I hated playing that section of the game, and I don't think a lot of people didn't really like it. So there's like a few bits like that in that game that kind of spoil the overall experience, but it's still an amazing game, and you should definitely play all three of
Yeah,
them.
yeah, and I will. I'll play all three to get the feel for it, and then
Even if you don't complete them, like I,
to get an
I'd
idea.
say,
I'll beat them definitely. That's no doubt. But yeah,
I hope one doesn't put you off though, because I mean you know that one's different to the rest of them.
yes,
But
and that's my mind is I want to play one just to experience it. But if I get to the point where I'm like, then I'll move to
exactly,
two. I'm not going to like write the series off because I
yeah,
don't like one. Like I
exactly. I'm
know from
glad you said
enough
that.
stuff that I've heard that that's you know where it is. The last game that I have on my list, real quick, and I'm not. We don't have to really talk about it a lot. You've already played it. Is Yoshi's Woolly World.
Oh yeah,
Um, I'm really looking forward to that a
yeah,
lot.
been there, done that.
Yeah, thanks. And it's not so much like the three Yoshis right there. Toby was gracious enough to give me. Um, just the fact that I can use all of my amiibo to like implement them, like I think that's really cool. Like I think that's uh, amazing. Like I can't wait to use Ness and Samus and all these different characters like as my Yoshi. And I think it's a game that Tony and I will play together and enjoy it together a lot. So that's more or less where I am with that.
It is a really good game. It's the art style's beautiful. The co-op gameplay is really fun. I mean, it's just a really solid Nintendo platformer, really. And I don't know if you've experienced any of the recent Yoshi games.
Yes.
The I mean, the one on 3DS,
Yes.
Is that Yoshi's New Island? I think it's called.
Something like that. I forget. It's not that good though.
Yeah, but
I mean,
that one
it's
was kind
good.
of
Don't get me wrong. I don't. Okay, it's
it was
good.
average, I would
It's
say.
not great. It's
Yeah,
easy. Like
yeah.
you blow right through it, and it's like, come on.
I
Like
mean,
this is.
this Yoshi game so far, I've only played the first world, but it is fairly easy. There's a few. I know that there are a few levels later on in the game that I've seen in videos that do look quite tricky, and a lot of the reviews said that it does provide a challenge if you want it to.
Yes.
But I think it just feels like uh, altogether as a package, it's a very nice game to play.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. I've got one more game on my
Go
list.
ahead. What do you got?
It's the Ratchet and Clank game that's out in spring next year on PS4. I don't know if you've played any of the Ratchet games. See,
Let's get away from Nintendo. All right, that's all you're basically. That's what your heart is. And this game is like cartoony and all that. And you're thinking, I got it. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just teasing.
yeah,
No, that's I've never played a Ratchet and Clank game. I've heard great things about them, But go ahead. What are you looking
See,
forward to?
like that's another series that's really close to my heart. That I played all of them on the PS2. They kind of lost their way for a bit. I mean, there was a couple on PS3 that were really good, but then they brought out like a weird like co-op one, I think, or it's like you had a lot of different characters. They were like experimenting with it, and I didn't play any of those ones. But now this new one, they're making a Ratchet and Clank movie, and that's based on the first game, and the new game is kind of a remake of the first game, but it's based on the movie. So it's like the remake based on the movie based on the game. So it's a little bit. It sounds a bit complicated, but like what I've seen, they showed off some video of it at E3 where they were playing an original level from the first game, but all of the like action elements, like there's a bit where you're on a train, and in the original game, the whole train is like just flat carriages, and you just jump from one to the next, and you shoot enemies along the way, and then you get to the end, and that's it. But in the new version, the train's like really dynamic, and there's like lots of places to climb. It's like a bit Uncharted, like you can climb around the edge, and there's new things to swing from platform to platform, and then there's things to undo, and it's just loads of like new elements to that level that completely change it. And graphically as well, it looks stunning. It's just amazing. So yeah, I can't wait to play that. So
It sounds interesting. I'll probably check it out. Like you know, I'm basically at Sony's mercy now. Like I'm just whatever they're putting out, I'm gonna start grabbing up, and I'm really enjoying a lot. Like I'm thinking that Mario Maker will bring me back to the Wii U hard, and I know Yoshi's Woolly World will bring me back a little bit. But after that, there's not a whole lot that's going to keep me there.
I've got a
So
recommendation for you.
what's that?
A recommendation for a PlayStation 4 game.
What's that?
Have you heard of Dying Light?
Yes, I have heard of it. I don't know that I'm debating getting it. My main issue is with first person games. I get sick.
All right.
Minecraft is the first game that hasn't gotten me sick, and so it's got me to the point where I'm like, you know what? Maybe I'm going to start trying some of these other games. I did read an article the other day on how to cure that. They basically said to get the C bands that keep you from getting seasick,
Okay.
and to drink this. I forget the name of the tea. It was a certain tea that supposedly will help you to not get nauseous. The idea is to play more first-person games, and then your brain, because basically what it is your brain starts to, it's being tricked, and it knows that you're not moving, but it's looking at the screen, and it sees that it's moving in a first-person perspective, and it's looking at it, and it's going, that's not me moving like that. What is going on? So your brain starts to believe that you're poisoned, and starts to get you nauseous, to throw up, to get whatever venom and poison is in you out of you.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, I read this article the other day, and I was like blown away because I didn't realize that's what was happening. So more or less, what happens is they say that there's two ways to fix it. One, don't play first-person games, or play a little bit at a time until your brain recognizes what you're doing,
well,
gets used to it, and keeps going.
I would definitely not recommend Dying Light. I take back that recommendation because it's if you get sick, motion sick at games like first person games like that, then you're guaranteed to not like this game, because I don't normally get sick at first person games like that, but if I play Dying Light for hour and a half, 2 hours, then I definitely feel nauseous.
Okay.
So if it makes me nauseous, then it's going to make you nauseous.
Yeah, and more than likely. But I'll be honest with you, I played Destiny a little bit. I got the demo, and I played that a little bit. That didn't get me that sick. Like, it was one of the first games, but I know that they developed the game to counteract that. Like, it's smoother graphics.
I mean, Dying Light, you do a lot of parkour, so you do a lot of jumping and grabbing onto stuff. And
and that's good.
It's very fast paced, and doing that, I think it really adds to the motion sickness thing. So
yeah, no thanks.
Yeah.
Like, thanks for trying, Toby.
Yeah. I recommend it because I thought we could play it together, but it's
Yeah,
okay.
no,
We can play other stuff.
we'll pass. We'll get other stuff. We got other stuff. I'll be like every 10 minutes, Toby, I'll be right back.
Yeah.
So thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed our first episode of our Geek Cast. I'm going to try to get this up in a podcast format as well. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Please let us know if you did in the comments below. Is there anything you want us to talk about or you're interested in seeing us do or whatever? Is there people you want us to bring in? We're probably would bring in some of the other Team Geek members, which I strongly recommend you guys going and checking out. We got Mark and Colin, the Warp Whistle. We got Allan, Full Fat Gaming. I believe he's got Toby involved in that a little bit.
Yeah,
now,
I'm involved now.
Yeah, so
He's roped me in.
Yes, and then Karina and Toby also do a gaming channel together. Karina has her own YouTube channel. TONI, my wife, she has her own YouTube channel. So check out Team Geek and what they're doing. Strongly recommend it. But we're going to bring some of those people in here as well to get involved with this as well as we move forward. Another thing we are on social media. You can check me out, Instagram, Twitter, at the Geek Gurus. You can check Toby out at Toby's_take. He's on Twitter. Don't know why he's not on Instagram. It took a while to get him on Twitter. So.
Instagram sucks, Bobby.
It does not. It's awesome, man. You get to see some really cool stuff.
Filters on your pictures.
Listen, that's fine. That's not what it's all about. It's all about experiencing what other people have out there. You keep hating on it.
It's just another thing to sign into and check, Bobby. That's what it is.
You know what? You are a hater, and I don't appreciate it. So that is all. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Catch you guys next time. Peace, mother.
Bye.
Yeah.